Are you catching new OCD compulsions as they're growing? We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And I want to talk about those OCD compulsions. When we are trying to crush OCD, we are reducing those compulsions. We're reducing the things that OCD demands that we do or avoid to get that brief relief that's caused by the intrusive thought or feeling, right? So OCD says, oh, you better do this. Oh, you better avoid that. And we do those, and those are called compulsions. And one of the very first steps in taking control over your life and your beautiful garden, metaphorically, is to pull back on those compulsions. When I'm working with people, I get them to write down all their compulsions that they can think of, and we systematically start to eliminate them. Can they delay it? Can they ignore it? Can they do the opposite, right? But what happens sometimes is new OCD compulsions pop up. Little baby weeds, right? You're busy in your OCD garden pulling out those weeds, those deep-rooted weeds, right? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm working on that. I don't have to do that anymore. I have all this freedom and it feels so good. I'm making progress. But over here in this little corner of your garden, little baby weeds are popping up with their roots very weak, right? And you might ignore them. You might ignore them for a couple of different reasons. You might ignore them because you're very busy focusing right here, and so you're not even almost aware of them. They're not a big deal. Or you ignore them because you think they're so tiny little things. I don't need to be plucking them. They're not my big problem. This is my big problem, right? I'm clearing out this area. Or you might say everybody's focused over here. Nobody knows about this little thing that's growing over here. And I want people to think I'm making progress, or I want people to leave me alone. And so I'm just going to still focus on these weeds while I'm growing these weeds privately. Is that you? That happens a lot. And so it doesn't matter whether you have a therapist or a parent or a partner or a friend who's trying to help you with your OCD. It is your journey. And I've talked about this before. You have to be honest with yourself, because the only person you're fooling and the only person you're hurting when those little OCD compulsions are allowed to get root and grow is yourself. And so you want to ask yourself, do I want to live with OCD controlling my life, or do I want to truly have a beautiful metaphorical garden? And to do that, I have to pull out those baby weeds. And so I always tell people, do not allow new compulsions to take root, right? They're going to pop up because they will, because that's what OCD does. But you don't have to allow it to get deep into the dirt and grow roots. And so be aware of what compulsions you do, and be aware of what new compulsions you do. And when it's a new compulsion, it is much easier to pluck out. It doesn't have deep roots. And so you say, nope, OCD, I'm already doing this, this, and this for you. We're not adding to that list. And sometimes to visually see it, it might help to write them out. What I've done with people is, when you have a new compulsion, no judgment, but add it to the list. And so you see the list and you're like, oh, I don't want to add that to the list. I'm going to work on it. I'm not going to do that compulsion. So nobody will know when you have new compulsions, especially the ones that are not obvious, but you will know. And more importantly, and scary, OCD will know. And OCD doesn't care whether your parent, a therapist, your partner, or your friend knows that you are doing it. As long as you and OCD know you're doing it, it's still growing OCD. So pull out those weeds, and don't forget the little tiny ones that are just getting started. I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll talk to you again next Thursday. Take care.